What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we're harvesting some garlic. It is harvest day for us, and despite the fact that we're a little bit early, they're ready. And I don't know why they're this early. Usually they're right around 1st of July, 4th of July or so, and we're about 2 weeks away from that. So it's early by all accounts, but I don't know what it is, but they are ready. And so we're going to talk about what to look for when your garlic is ready to be harvested. We're going to harvest some garlic, see what we got, and we're also going to talk about curing your garlic, because that's the next thing too. Once you get it up, it's important that you basically preserve it so that it lasts a long time, because if it's improperly stored, it's only going to last a couple weeks. But if you store it correctly, it can last 3 to 5 months. So the first thing you want to look for to kind of tell if your plant is ready to be harvested is the lower leaves. As the plant is starting to tell you, hey, I'm ready, the lower leaves will start to turn brown. Now, a lot of gardeners will fear that, and they'll start to fertilize, they'll start to water, they think their plant is dying, and in fact, it's getting ready to die because it's a bulb. It's actually conserving energy down below the soil. And so the upper growth has done its job, and it's starting to die back. Now, that's very, very normal, and watering it and fertilizing it is only going to kind of mess things up. So just know that about a month before, usually the first week in July, you want to basically just dial back the watering. Don't fertilize, don't do anything special to it. Just let it kind of run its course, and it will actually conserve energy. Now, the second thing you want to do is you want to pull the scapes off. Now, we actually did a video harvesting scapes. We harvested some scapes, and we made a garlic scape pesto. Great video, you should check it out. But you want to pull the scapes off, because the scapes are essentially a flower stalk that will steal energy away from the bulb. You'll end up with a larger bulb in the long run if you harvest it off. Now, obviously you want to do that, right when they form. That's the ideal time. There's a scape right here, in fact, that we missed, and this is what they look like. They just have, a little stem, and then at the end, you have this little point, and that will be a flower that will open. Now, the crazy thing is, over time, we've actually bred the ability for garlic to really form true seed out. Because of the fact we select the bulbs to use as seed stock, we basically have told the garlic that forming seeds is an unnecessary thing to do. And so we've almost basically forced it into being self-sterile. Now, you can, on a very rare occurrence, find true garlic seed, but it is not common whatsoever. Generally, the flowers will open and they're just showy, and they take energy away from the bulb. So we do pull these off. Now, once the garlic has turned about 60 to 75% yellow is when they're ready to be harvested. All right, there we go. This is a hardneck variety of garlic. So the stem is going to be a lot larger than the bulb itself. There's usually a correlation from the size of the neck to the size of the bulb. And sometimes that's true with hardnecks, and sometimes it's not. It can be very deceiving. In the case of this one over here, this one, look at this one. This one we thought was going to be a massive head of garlic. Turned out it was kind of like a mono bulb. It just kind of was one giant head of something. It's kind of weird. Garlic will sometimes do that. But either way, you're not always going to have perfection in the garden, but homegrown is way better than store-bought regardless. So a quick tip to harvesting your garlic is wait until either after a rain or water the bed in just before you're ready to harvest. Now, I know I said dial back watering, but that's just to help the garlic kind of get ready to be harvested. If you soften the soil with a little bit of water, it'll make harvesting way easier. I'm saying way easier. Generally, we need to have both hands on the garlic and use a shovel to pull it up. But because the soil is so loose and fluffy, and we just had a good deep rain, it's really helping to loosen the soil up so that the garlic kind of comes right up. So they're looking really good. Now, I will say, size of the garlic this year in comparison to other years is smaller, but I can attest that to a couple things. One, we had a very, very dry spring. Garlic likes a lot of water when it's starting to form bulbs. We just didn't have that. And because we practice core gardening, which is basically we have a bunch of straw bales we bury in the beds, and we try to water our garden as little as possible. We only watered our garden 2 times the entire summer. And so basically from beginning of April all the way to now, we only watered 2 times. Now that's great. That's a testament to the fact that it's working, but had we had a lot more water, the garlic would have been a lot bigger. So that's one thing. And now also too is the varieties. We tried a couple different varieties this year that we've never tried before. We did use our own seed stock for some of our garlic, but some of this garlic was just kind of a test to see new varieties, to see if we liked other varieties better. So every variety is going to have different size heads. Like we used our own seed stock from an Amish variety of garlic, and we also tried a German extra hardy. We tried a chestnut red and an Amish rocambole, and those are the 4 varieties we chose to grow, and they all have different traits. But all in all, they are looking really nice. Sometimes you get a little dinky one like that, but that's okay. Again, because garlic still tastes like garlic. All right, I'm also harvesting some of our spring garlic. Now, a lot of you wanted an update on the spring garlic. If you remember correctly, we took garlic that kind of overwintered outside. We left it outside, and I said that you can either put it in the fridge for 3 to 5 weeks or leave some garlic on accident outside like we did, and you can still plant it in the spring, believe it or not, and still get garlic. Now, we planted it in very early spring, and we are harvesting it now, and I did say that the garlic will not be as large, it will not be as pretty, but we are getting garlic that, believe it or not, is still beautiful garlic. Now granted, it is much smaller. I think we only have about 3 garlic cloves in this whole head of garlic here. This one maybe have 3 to 4. So they're smaller, and the heads are much smaller, the cloves are much smaller, but garlic is garlic. And it does go to show that you can in fact grow garlic in the spring and still get heads of garlic. You just have to set your expectations a little bit lower, because like, I mean, that was a really good sized one, but still that one has maybe 3 to 4 cloves of garlic there. It's not going to be like your fall planted garlic, like this one, which is, yeah, you know, you've got probably 4 to 5 cloves, and the cloves are probably 2 times larger, right? Big difference. But again, that's the difference between fall planted garlic and spring planted garlic. It's all about the time you plant that makes the big difference. So again, it's just about setting your expectations in the garden so that you're not disappointed. Because hey, if I had not planted fall garlic and I was in a time crunch and I said, I just want garlic, I certainly would not be complaining with this. Now, if my expectation was this and I got this, I'd be a little bit bummed. But again, it's just about setting your expectations in accordance with reality, right? So I'm gonna get through here. I'm gonna pull the rest of this garlic up, and then I'll show you how to clean it and cure it. All right, and there we go. Look at that haul. Absolutely beautiful. Cannot complain. This is really heavy. Now granted, this is like a lot of plant matter, a lot of roots, plus garlic. So I really don't know what we're gonna get from this, but all in all, this is roughly about 200 heads of garlic here. So I am very happy with this, and it's super heavy. So we're gonna go over, get them processed up so we can get them cured. Let's go. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to properly get your garlic cleaned and ready to be cured. All I did here is I got a bucket of water. I like to do that because it allows me to rinse the garlic off, but save all that beautiful water that I can return back to the garden. So rinse off the garlic, and then you're gonna take the roots and you're gonna snip the roots, and you're gonna leave about a ½ inch or so of roots at the bottom. And then you're gonna come up here and you're gonna leave about 2 to 3 inches of stem. And that will cure up very nicely. The reason why you don't wanna go too low is you wanna let moisture go out of the garlic slowly, because as this dries, it's gonna help to kind of seal the freshness into the garlic so it doesn't crack and dehydrate. But then also, the roots themselves, you don't wanna cut off too much, otherwise you risk damaging the actual bulb themselves. So there's nothing wrong with this at all. And when this dries, the roots are gonna shrink, the stem is gonna shrink, and you're gonna be left with a beautiful little head of garlic. Now, the best place to actually store them is in a dry location that's gonna be slightly warm. Cool locations can lead to rot and mold. So I typically say right around 65 to 70 degrees and nice dry location. So it could be in a shed, in a garage, in your basement, wherever, just not really cold and not very damp. All right, so once your garlic has been properly washed and cured, it's nice and dry. Depending on the variety you chose, it's gonna last anywhere from 3 months up to 6 months. Now, soft neck garlic will last less than hardneck garlic will. And the reason why is because there's a lot more moisture inside of the clove. The neck of the garlic doesn't actually contain that much moisture. This is the neck of the garlic. So once this dries out, there's not a whole lot of moisture to lead to rot and mold. So once this cures, the center of the garlic, because this is a hard neck, will be totally fine, it'll be totally dry, and the cloves surrounding the neck and the basal plate, this is the basal plate where all the roots are attached, will have basically, the only place where there's moisture will be the cloves themselves. The rest will be dry. And so that will lead to a really long shelf life on a hard neck variety versus a short neck, or versus a soft neck variety. And so depending on which type you grow, obviously will totally depend on the shelf life, but having a properly cured garlic will absolutely last at least 3 months for sure, which is great. Because then what we're gonna do next is 3 months will put us right into about fall planting. And so what we're gonna do is kind of a little bit sad to do sometimes, but we're gonna take the prettiest heads of garlic, the ones that look the most beautiful, that have the best formed heads, best formed cloves, and we're gonna use them as seed stock for next year. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna store those just long enough to where we can basically plant them back out into the garden again. And then that ensures next year's harvest. So it's sometimes unfortunate to save some smaller, more puny heads for yourself, but plant out the really pretty ones in the garden. But if you plant out the puny ones in the garden, you're only gonna be setting yourself up for a smaller, punier harvest in the future. And that's just natural selection for you. Sometimes you gotta pick out the healthiest, and you can't always eat the healthiest and the best. Sometimes those are the ones you wanna plant out in the garden. So it's always about having that future mindset for a better harvest next year. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. If you're trying garlic this year, definitely let me know what varieties you're trying. And also, if you have not yet tried garlic and you want to try growing your own garlic, I would recommend checking out MIgardener.com. We do not yet have them in stock. Around early September is when we'll get our garlic in stock from our farm. And so the farms that we partner with are growing our garlic this year. We have great varieties. They're going to do awesome for you. Make sure you go check out MIgardener.com, join the wait list, and that way, as soon as they come in stock, you're going to be notified. So we carry only heirloom, organically grown garlic. So it's going to be the best that there is, and it's going to do wonderful for you. So go check that out, and that way you can have garlic just like this. And because it's heirloom, you can save the, you can plant the bulbs and guarantee that you're going to get the same garlic year after year, which is awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care, everyone. Bye.